Well, good morning and welcome to Karen's Corner. I want to introduce Emily Rodriguez. Emily is founder of Living Proof Coaching Services. Good to have you on this morning, Emily.
Thank you so much for having me. It's my honor and pleasure to be here with you guys.
Well, it's certainly good to see you. And so you are in the Trenton, New Jersey area, correct?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Okay. And so tell me about Living Proof Coaching Services. How did you end up doing this? What's your why?
Okay, I'm actually a dual certified recovery coach and life coach, and I'm the CEO of Living Proof Coaching Services. Living Proof Coaching Services is a virtual coaching service that is global. We are passionately dedicated to the actively addicted, the recovery community, and any woman who is ready for some hardcore accountability reaching their life goals. And we do believe that if you are not actively in addiction or in recovery from addiction, that we all have something to recover from. And a little bit of my story is I've been in recovery for over 12 years. I've been completely abstinent from all substances, including cigarettes and alcohol for the last 6. But when I entered into my last treatment, which was, I want to say 2008, I was in jail all the time. I was in and out of treatment, inpatient, outpatient, mental institutions. I mean, everything I tried, you name it. I tried. And I just realized that, I wanted to make a difference. I never saw myself ever being able to not be a heroin addict. I never saw myself not being homeless or addicted to crack or living on the street and doing unimaginable things to sustain my addiction. Like, I just never saw that. And when that finally happened for me, I knew that I had to give back. And I knew that I needed to let people know that we do recover, because for so long, I was really just waiting to die. And I was believing that the next bag, the next overdose was going to be it, because nothing was working for me. What I also realized is, through the years that I've been helping people, even before I was certified, I was definitely in service and helping people. And there's a huge gap between inpatient and making your meetings or going to your IOP. And for so many years, I would go into program and then I would come out and it would just be like my dad. And a lot of people, and prior to this year, a lot of people, and even still, are still very stigma driven and uneducated about addiction. And so I was coming back into the same environment, which then was just so mundane, and I felt very misunderstood, and I would go right back to the street. And so one of my main goals is to hold people's hands while they're entering into treatment, being there when they come out, being there as soon as they come out, talking about their fears, talking about the uncertainty of their future, meeting goals, doing relapse prevention, anything that would help them along their way to navigate life on life terms. I didn't have that. And I just constantly relapsed. Not only is a recovery coach here to talk about all those things, but we're here to be a resource. So I connect them to the recovery community. I invite them to things that I'm attending. We do virtual conferences. We do virtual webinars. We have a Facebook page. I mean, really just saying, like, we are all in this together. I didn't have that. And so that is where Living Proof Coaching Services was born. I've been in business since April, actually, so I'm a little new to the business world. But during quarantine was really when I realized, with everyone relapsing and the meetings closing and people were dying at a rapid rate, I usually say it was like God's foot was in my behind. And he said, if you've ever waited for a time, this is the time. And so that's why it's so awesome I'm able to do this virtually all around the world, because we don't have to meet. We don't have to wear masks. Obviously, I would love to see them and hug my girls and all of that. But for right now, it's kind of appropriate for what we're experiencing during the pandemic.
Wow, that's phenomenal. And I love your energy. It is so needed, but particularly now. So while you're providing some incredible services, how would someone go about accessing your services at this time?
Okay, so I have my website is actually under construction right now, and so I do have an email. You can email me at bmycoach.lpcs, Living Proof Coaching Services. So it's bmycoach.lpcs@gmail.com. You can call me at 1-609-310-1522. You can find me on Facebook. My personal page, which is an all things recovery page, is Emily Rodriguez. In parentheses, it says recovery coach, or go straight to my business page, which is Living Proof Coaching Services, LLC.
Wow. Lots of ways to connect.
Lots of ways.
Love it. Okay. Well, great. I mean, we've just covered the whole gamut pretty quickly. Do you have anything else that you wanted to mention before we wrap up?
I think a lot of the times when we are searching for what works for us, we want it for the free. And I say that a lot. And I always strive my best to encourage people to invest in themselves. And I'm quite affordable. If you do call me, I do free consultations for women ages 18 and up. So it's free consults, and I figure out if we're a good match. I figure out, first couple things I say is, how bad do you want this, and are you ready to work? And then we get to business. Sometimes we're not a good match, and I can refer someone elsewhere. A lot of the times when someone is looking for an accountability, someone is looking for a coach, someone is looking for just someone to understand, possibly be a mediator in an environment where I also deal with families. I forgot to mention that, is that I have a really unique opportunity to get involved with families as well. So a lot of the times I may have a client or a recovery, and they may be in an environment where they have burnt their bridges, and they may come home after a session with me and say, oh, my recovery coach said X, Y, and Z. And their mother and their father is like, yeah, right. I've heard this all before. So I have a great opportunity to get in touch with the families. We have family packages that we run. We do a very big emphasis on codependency, and pretty much kind of saying, this is what we're working on. Are you on board as well? And it kind of helps the individual to be successful and to say, I'm going to take this pressure off of you. There was no one for my father to take the pressure off of him. It was him and him alone, on the phone with the insurance companies all the time, just kind of trying to figure this thing out. So I consider myself to be a big navigator. But what I want to say is to invest in yourself. If you want something that you've never had before, you must do something you've never done. And unfortunately, back then, recovery coaches, I don't know where they were. I don't know if they existed, but we weren't making enough noise. And if you've tried everything, if you've been in and out of treatment, and maybe you're coming out and you're thinking to myself, I have no idea how to live out here, or I want to be a recovery coach someday, or I want to go to school, or I want to do X, Y, and Z, and we put some short-term goals in place and some long-term goals, and we do the steps to reach those things, they are attainable. And I want to let you guys know that, like, what I'm doing right now is attainable. What Karen's doing right now is attainable. That you're never, ever, ever too far gone, as long as there is breath in your lungs. So that's pretty much it. But yes, please look me up, Living Proof Coaching Services on Facebook. Our mantra is proof that real recovery is happening.
I love that. Phenomenal. What a great way to start my day talking to you. Thanks again for your time, Emily. And I cannot wait for everybody to see what I see.
Oh, thank you so much for this opportunity. I appreciate it so much.
My pleasure. You take care.
You too.